And we are live. What's up, beasties? It's Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. Welcome back to the channel and to another episode of Beast Friends Forever. Woo! I'm excited for today's guest. We've been chatting back and forth for a while. I've been reading his awesome series, starting with this side, Relentless Blades, which I'm about halfway through and loving it. I'm probably gonna get right back to reading it after we're done chatting here, because I want to get to the next book, which is coming out tomorrow, and we're gonna talk all about it. But this is just an awesome author, but an even more awesome person. I've enjoyed getting to know him, and I'm really excited to get to talk to him live, face to face here today, and for all of you beasties to get to know him as well. So without further ado, let me bring on my guest today, Russell Carroll. Welcome.
Hey, good to be here. So excited.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm so glad that you could do it. Thanks for making time. I know this is a busy stretch for you right now.
Oh, it is. I'm getting pumped. Tomorrow's the day. Release Ashbound Oaths. I've been chomping at the bit to get this thing out. Had a few snafus. Wasn't sure I was going to make this year's release window, but we pulled through, and it's ready to go. I can't wait.
Yeah. Woo. All right. Well, we got some people in the chat already. Let me shout them out real quick. We got J.A. Bryden from across the pond, another awesome author from Australia. Thanks for being here, my friend. We got Mr. Tim McKay, a Bearded Book Beast channel member and another awesome author. Just had him on not too long ago. Check out our chat if you have not yet. And Jason Stigliano is here. What's up, Jason? Another awesome dude. Another author that I am in talks with to have on soon, along with J.R. Carroll, another awesome author. What's up, J.R.? Thanks for being here, man. And Jeffrey Smith is here as well. We got a packed house in here. What's up? So if anybody's watching and they just like to hang out, feel free. You don't have to comment in the chat, but we would love if you have a question, throw it in there, and I'll make sure to ask it of Russell for you. So that, and if you're watching on replay, we appreciate you as well. I know this is a little earlier than we usually do it, but it worked out great. And those of you that are able to join us now, awesome. If you're watching on replay, that's awesome too. And for everybody, in the description down below, I've got links to Russell's, where you can find him. I've got links to his books. So go check all that out and support him. Because after you hang out with him for an hour, like I am, you're going to want to. So
I hope.
Hopefully it doesn't go the other way, right?
I hope so. I recognize a few of these folks in the chat.
Oh, yeah, we got some good guys in here. All right, so first thing I got to say is, gosh, do you ever do that when you're on these things and something's behind you? Like, I can never figure out which, even after doing hundreds of these, I can't figure out which way to turn. Anyway, this cover has always caught my eye. I've always wanted to get into it. That's why I was so pumped when we started chatting, because I've always wanted to read your books. But man, as much as I love this cover, let's take a look at the new one that's coming out. I mean, holy smokes, look at that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they nailed exactly what I was looking for on both of them.
Man, let's start before we talk about the covers, I guess. Let's start with I introduced you already, but why don't you just tell us what genre you write, and just tell us a little bit about this series before we dive deeper into it.
Well, I write epic fantasy mostly. Like, I'm a little of the older generation. So when I was coming up, fantasy was just fantasy. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. I get a little twisted and turned around by all the subgenres. I can't keep them all straight. So sometimes I say it's dark, sword and sorcery, epic, high fantasy, blah, 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 because it has a little elements of all of that. But to me, it's fantasy. So that's what I write. I write like the fantasy that I loved growing up in the 80s and 90s, and Salvatore and David Gemmell and Weiss and Hicksman's Dragonlance and all that kind of stuff, that kind of form, of course, Tolkien, that goes without saying. But all of that is kind of what formed my writing. So to me, it's fantasy, but I guess it is kind of dark, gritty, sword and sorcery.
Yep. Oh yeah. If you, as I've been reading it, if you like just any kind of fantasy, you're gonna like this. But it does got the epic vibes to it. It's got the dark fantasy, like you said. It's got really cool world building. It's got really cool magic, and it's got great like. It feels very alive. It feels like it has a history, but you don't info dump. It just happens naturally through conversation and through the story and learning about these different races. But the thing that shines the most for me, which I'm a character reader, and your characters are awesome, man. Your
Oh,
character work
thanks.
in this is fantastic. Like I love every character, even the ones like I think, and I don't know how to say it, the names all the best, but some of the my favorite characters. I love all the main ones, but even the side ones feel alive. They don't feel like um, thin. They don't. They feel very deep. Just the secondary characters, and I love when they're on the page. So I feel like that just shows your talent as an author because not every book I read, the secondary characters mean anything to me. You know what I mean? So kudos to you for that. You did great.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think it comes from my sense as a reader that for me, like well,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that go into making a good book, right? Or a good movie, a good story. You know, the plot, the world building, the setting, all that stuff. But for me, if the one thing that for me stands out, it's character. And that's
Mhm.
my fervent belief is if you get invested in the characters, all the rest will fall into place. And
Right.
of course, you know, the greatest of great books, in my opinion, are the ones that combine everything. Of course, you have
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
perfect plot, great
Yeah.
world
Yeah.
building character. But if I still had to say one thing to me that stands out above all else, I feel like readers will forgive and be a little more forgiving of some of the flaws of a book if they love the characters.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. But I will say you do everything else good too.
No, no,
So
I appreciate it.
congrats there. um, all right. Well, like I said, this is awesome. So this is book one, Relentless Blades, which is linked down
Correct.
below if anybody hasn't snagged it yet. When did this one come out?
That one came out October of 2024, last year.
Okay, nice, nice.
Um,
And I know not long ago.
yeah, so it's been out a year, and since we're on that right now, I will say I haven't posted it yet, but that one goes on sale 99 cents starting
Ooh, nice.
tomorrow for a week. So from tomorrow
Oh,
till I
nice.
think the 24th, the ebook will be
Okay.
99 cents so that anybody who is looking at Ashbound Oaths thinking that looks cool, but they haven't
Yeah.
read Relentless Blades, tomorrow's a perfect time. You can grab that cheap, get it read.
Very nice. I'll add that to the description so people know. Awesome. All right. So this was book one. Book two is coming out tomorrow, which is
Tomorrow.
awesome. Um, and we won't talk about big spoilers or anything, but just I think people are always curious. So, how long after book one does book two pick up?
1 month.
1 month. So
It
pretty
well,
close.
close. I mean, 1 month actually for a lot of the characters. It's even maybe weeks
Okay.
for some of them because the book, this Ashbound Oaths, whereas Relentless Blades is fairly linear, kind of
Mhm.
following Vidge and Grim. Now they have
Yep.
alternating POV chapters,
Yep.
but
Yep.
it's mostly linear, following the two of them until they kind of
Two
converge
guys on the cover here.
into the one story, right? But
Mhm.
Ashbound Oaths expands out so you get three different points of view, three different stories going on, and they're
Nice.
not always happening at exactly the same
Okay.
moment. I try to make sure everything kind of links up at the end. The events
Mhm.
are happening by the end pretty similarly, but you have certain groups taking journeys while other groups aren't. So some people get a little ahead in the timeline, but
Yeah.
it's pretty easy to follow because you're looking at them all separate groups.
Perfect. Okay, that's awesome, man. So, ooh, sorry about that. So, in a little bit, when I get to writing process, I'll be curious to see how that changed, if that changed anything with your process between doing just the two point of views and then expanding and getting bigger. But we'll get to that in a minute. Um, so, before I dive into my questions about the series and everything, first let's talk about these covers. So, why don't you give a shout out to your cover artists and let us know kind of how that process went, how you found them, if these were like your exact ideas or if there was some back and forth, how that process went for you.
Well, I first of all, I hired both the covers through Fiverr because a lot of people ask,
Nice.
you know, where do you get cover artists?
That's
So
awesome.
I've
Yeah.
had, yeah. I've had great luck with Fiverr. I know you hear horror stories, but I
Oh
think you
yeah.
can find horror stories in almost anywhere,
Oh,
right?
and
But
anything. Yep. Yep.
yeah, but for me, I got very lucky but the covers are 100% my ideas. Okay,
That's awesome.
different authors do it differently, obviously,
Hmm.
right? Some
Hmm.
people
Yep.
some people want the artist to read the book and just pick
Yep.
something.
Yep.
Some just give a little input and not much. Not me. I'm like too hands-on type A. So these
Same
covers were exactly
here.
like I want Vidge and Grimm on the cover. I want them facing out. I want them front and center. I want the
Yep.
book framed, seeing them. I want the monsters in the foreground so that you kind of see the threats
Yep.
coming. But I want very much that the readers see the characters front
Yep.
and center. And I even went so far as for Vidge's pose. Like I took a picture of myself
Oh,
with,
really?
two sticks holding like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is kind of how I
That's
want
what
him
I want.
squatting like a
Oh,
ninja
that's awesome.
pose. And, I want Grimm has the big two-handed
Oh,
sword.
yeah.
So I want him there. So now the author or the illustrator, I should say, I give them leeway to, I didn't give details of what exact armor they're wearing or,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But I gave, so they have some leeway, of course, but it
Right.
was
Right.
down to, I sent them excerpts from the book. So Grimm is
Yep.
blue. He's got
Yep.
a red mohawk, so
Yep.
everything you see is exactly how I wanted the cover to be.
Oh, you nailed it, man. And I love too that they wrap around too, the image. That's awesome.
Yes, yeah, they both of them, both covers do. Same thing with Ashbound Oaths.
Yep. Yep.
Same
Yep. This
exact
one
thing.
is too.
Yeah, I told him, I want spoilers for anyone who wouldn't know. Rorgast front and center on
Oh, yes.
the cover. I want the Farashar he's facing. I want this contrast of colors and
So good.
again, he has four arms. I want him to have blazing swords. He's got a
Yep.
fireball in one hand. So again, all that kind of stuff was communicated specifically to the author. This is in my vision. This is exactly what I want. And they did a great job of conveying that. And what's important to me for a cover as well is I want the cover to tell the story. I want you, as you're holding that book, to look at that and you're going to know you get exactly what you see on the cover. There's no hidden things. There's no, oh, where was that in the book? Nope. What you see, you're going to see a chapter that displays that.
Hmm. And I love that too because so many times I pick this up to read it, and it's like seeing them. Then when I read it, that's what I envision. And your descriptions are great, so I would have envisioned something like that anyway. But it's just cool to see it, and it just makes it more alive in your head, I think. But I think you nailed it on both of these. And let me tell you, this guy, uh, the way that you even describe him, like he's just a terrifying presence. You created that with your writing, so then seeing it come to life on the second book like that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got to admit, I have a soft spot for Warcast. I just do. And
He's fun to read.
I think readers, especially when you get to Ashbound Oaths, I think readers will end up, I don't want to say liking him per
Mhm.
se, but they will kind of, I think, like him despite themselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, there's that's how it goes sometimes. There's those villains that you hate, but you just love when they're on the page or on the
Hmm.
screen because they're just so well done. So yeah, I already kind of felt like that just halfway through book one. So I can only imagine go up
Yeah.
from there. Well, I think you did great on the covers, man. You had to be just thrilled when you got both of these back. I'm sure.
I was. And I'll tell you well, both of them, but especially Ashbound Oaths, that
Oh
cover
yeah,
was done back in June. I think he finished it, something
yeah.
like. So I was sitting on it
Oh
for
man,
months. And I mean, I had shared it with my wife and a
yeah.
couple really close friends, and they were like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I'm like, I know, but I can't
I
share
can't
it with
share
anybody yet. And so
it. Oh
finally,
man.
about 6 weeks ago, I was able to do it. And I was humbled. The response was overwhelming. Like the internet went crazy. I think it was one of
Oh
my
yeah.
biggest posts. Everybody's like, oh, that cover is amazing.
Oh,
And
it is,
so
man. It's incredible. Like they nailed it for sure. And like you said, I love the this way. I love the contrasting the background too with the colors. It's just it all looks incredible. It's so epic looking.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. That was the goal, and I think they nailed it. So I'm very
Yep.
happy with them.
Oh yeah, I agree. All right, let's see. We got Curran Gill is here. What's up, Curran? Thanks for being here, man. And then Jason said the action framing on the covers is really nice, and I agree. Looks awesome. And JA said you have more self control than me when it comes to my cover.
Believe me, I did. You know, I shared it with a couple of friends. I shared it with my wife, and I'll admit there's a couple folks they knew who they are outside of that group who did. You know, I had either maybe seen their cover early or something. There was a couple other folks who got a sneak early peek at it. I
Yeah.
admit I
Oh, yeah.
couldn't totally keep it
You
under
had to
wraps.
show that to
Yeah,
somebody.
I had to. I couldn't. So there's a couple other folks out there who saw it.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean that cover like that could be on a t-shirt, that could be on framed and put on the wall like you that it was well done, man. Well done.
Oh, and it will be eventually. It will. I have a T-shirt of Relentless Blades,
Yeah,
and
say that one is a cool t-shirt too.
I will. There will be one.
Oh, good, good. All right, awesome stuff. Well, so right now there's two books in the series. What is your plans for this story? How many books do you think it'll take to tell this current story?
I'm hoping three,
Okay.
but we'll see. The third book, and I don't know how some of the other authors here in the chat. I don't know how they feel about it. Um, you know, I'll be the first to admit there's a mounting pressure that I feel with each book. Right, the first book,
Right.
there's some pressure, but it's like I hope people don't think it sucks.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. I wrote the book. Okay, this is cool. I like
Yeah.
it. But then as I'm writing Ashbound Oaths, I'm like, oh man, a lot of people seem to like Relentless Blades. Now I've kind of got people out there who are
Yeah.
like, oh, I
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Now I can't let them down. And now I got to make sure the next book gets a little more epic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh. But then now this third book, it's like, oh, I really can't mess the bed at the end, right? I
Yeah.
really got
Yeah.
to take. So I'm feeling a little pressure. I'm thinking it's going to be three. This third book will finish it. I don't know. We'll see. It's. I think it's going to be bigger than the other two books, and so we'll just see how big it grows.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's exciting. And then when you get through that, I mean, now this is thinking way in the future, but are you thinking of staying in this world and telling different stories? Or when you complete this story, are you thinking of moving on and starting something completely new in a new world?
Well, I think my current goal, and I had seen Tim McKay was in the chat, and
Mhm.
I know some of the other authors. What I'm noticing a lot is a lot of authors are throwing out novellas, and
Yeah.
that seems like it's kind of getting traction. So in my mind, I don't have the self control to jump in and write a novella now. I'm afraid I wouldn't lose momentum on the third
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
so I won't.
Yeah. I get
But when
that. Yeah.
that comes out, yeah, I'm looking at maybe throwing out in this world, but some shorter stories, novellas, maybe focusing on certain characters. And I don't know if I'll look at like doing a prequel, showing
Yeah. Yeah.
something in their history, or maybe just a short story that's set afterwards. But I'm kind of thinking maybe some novellas, actually.
Heck yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome. I think novellas, especially in the indie space, are
yeah,
just really getting popular, and I as a reader love them because, I mean, one, it's a great way to sample somebody's work if you want to try out
yeah,
their writing or whatever. But another, it's just a great way to break up. I mean, when you love fantasy, there's some pretty chunky books out
yeah,
there,
oh, yeah.
so it's fun to have a short one sitting read, that you can go through in a world you love. So either way, I think that novellas are great.
No, I love them, and just for the reasons you said, I'm the same way. I love reading fantasy, and my books aren't the chunkiest, but each
Right.
one is sitting at over 450
Mhm. Yeah.
pages, and that can be a little intimidating.
Oh yeah.
You look at a book that's 70 or 80 pages or 100 pages, and you're like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
wow, like you said, I can knock this out in a day or
Exactly.
two. There's something motivational about that, so
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. Um, and for anyone that is wondering about a 400-page book, let me tell you, his writing, it's lightning fast. You fly through his book. So don't worry about that either. Let's see. Curran said, I know he's working on two novellas. Uh, Yep, there you go. Sometimes it's just fun to get those shorter things out. It's probably a different use a different part of your writing brain, I guess, probably. But that's cool, man. That's exciting that you got all this stuff in the works for us readers that love your stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, and I think he's absolutely right sometimes. But it is, from what I understand, it is a full different discipline. Like
Yeah,
having to condense your thoughts down, and it really works a different part of your writing muscles to
yeah.
convey a story in that short span that's fulfilling and something that people resonate with.
Hmm.
When you're writing a novel, a huge novel, 450 pages, you're like, "Oh, what's an extra chapter if I throw it in, or if I get a
Oh
little
yeah.
more, bloviate a little more in certain sections, whatever."
Hmm.
But yeah, short story, you want to keep it to a certain amount. You gotta really work it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So in a second, I want to ask your thoughts on a couple of things. One, talk about your journey, not only to Relentless Blades, but just becoming an author and writing and all of that in general. But first, as a little break before we do that, I got a question for you. Do you like really terrible dad jokes?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm a dad, yeah, so sure. Gotta go with
All right.
it.
All right, I got two for you, okay?
All right.
All right, here's the first one. They're both really bad, just so you're prepared. All
Okay.
right. What did one hat say to the other?
You what?
You go on ahead. All
I'm laughing, so yeah, I must be a
right.
dad.
Oh yeah. All right. This one got me good when I saw it. So I'm like, I got to tell Russell this one. All right, here we go. How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh?
How many?
Tentacles. uh,
Okay, those are bad but funny.
they're
Yeah.
bad but good, you
Yeah,
know.
they're bad but good.
Tentacles. All right.
Tentacles.
Now let's talk about something more serious. Let's walk us through, take us back to when you were just a little Russell, a young Russell. What were some of the things that got you into fantasy and into reading, all of that stuff? And then at what point did you start writing and getting into writing? And then when did the idea for Relentless Blades come about and you thought, you know what, I'm going for it. I'm going to write this story. I know that's a lot to walk us through, but that's why it's called a journey. So
Yeah.
walk us through it, man.
It's funny because I just saw a post yesterday, the day before,
Mhm.
um, about the Ralph Bashki 1978 animated
Oh
Lord of
wow.
the Rings. They
Ooh.
just posted because they said it's, whatever, 45 years old, or I don't
Right.
know, something like that. Someone had just posted. That's gotta be one
Mhm.
of the earlier things in my childhood that got me hooked on fantasy was
Me too, man.
seeing that movie. And then, there were movies like other Bashkis like Fire and Ice. My parents had got me this Lord or this Hobbit when the Hobbit was a
Mhm.
animated original
Yep.
back in like
Yep. Yep.
75 or 76. Love that. They got me
Yep.
this record set collection where you could like listen
Ah,
to it. I played it until those records like broke, I think, or
yeah.
something. So those are kind of some of my earliest thoughts of what kind of got me interested in fantasy. I'm like, this is cool. And then probably, walking into one of those old bookstores that's not around anymore, like
Mhm.
Walden Books or something, when I
Yeah.
was like 9 or 10, and seeing the first edition Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual.
Oh.
And I saw
Mhm.
that sitting there, blue cover, had the different creatures on it, and I was just drawn to what the heck is this? And I grabbed this off the shelf and I'm looking and I had to beg my mom, you gotta buy it because there's all these monsters and there's all these statistics. I had no idea what anything meant. I had no idea
Mhm.
what armor class or hit points or I don't know what that was, but
Yeah.
it's an entire book of monsters. And at 10 years old, I didn't totally understand it, but I was like, there's some game attached to this. So I can fight these monsters somehow. I've got to figure out how do you do this? And that led me to the player's handbook and
Oh
Dungeon
yeah.
Master Guide and all that stuff. And that got me into Dungeons and Dragons. So me and my friends, my four other friends, I'll shout them out, Charlie, Jace, Robert, and Gene, we were Stranger Things kids. before the Netflix came out. We were the 10, 11, 12-year olds
Oh yeah.
playing Dungeons
That's
and
awesome.
Dragons around my parents' dining room table, drinking Mountain Dew sodas, eating pizza and Doritos,
Ah,
playing Dungeons and Dragons.
those were the days.
Those were the days and some of my fondest memories. And so we played through the Dragonlance saga and we played the Ravenloft module, which is
Oh
one of the
wow.
greatest modules ever created. Um, and so, yeah, that started my love of Dungeons and Dragons fantasy, which led to the writing. And because Grimlock was my Dungeons and Dragons character,
Oh cool.
Vigilantin was my best friend Charlie's Dungeons and Dragons character.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so that was like, and so for 40 years, these characters have been living
Hmm.
in my head. But I'll just be honest, I was combination too lazy, maybe too unmotivated. So I would think about it, but and I might write a chapter here and there
Yeah.
throughout the years, and then it would just fade away and I wouldn't
Hmm.
finish it until 2004-ish, when Wizards of the Coast had a writing contest for their Eberron campaign setting.
Hmm.
And they said it was a contest. If you submit a writing sample, a synopsis, 10-page sample, all this stuff, it had to be set in their world of Eberron. But you send this in, and if you win the contest, they'll give you a writing contract to write a novel in their campaign setting. So I submitted. I didn't win, but I made their short list. So
Oh,
I got feedback directly from the editor. So he
wow.
gave me all the tips of like, this is how close you were. This is the only reason you didn't get it, and whatnot. Keep trying. And so I promptly did nothing with that for another 20 years. So I was super excited for a couple of weeks, yeah,
Yeah.
and then nothing happened because I was not ready
Hmm.
to do the world building necessary because I couldn't
Oh yeah.
use the setting or
Right.
a lot of the characters I had developed because they were all proprietary. And
Yeah.
so I knew to write a story, I'm going to have to build a world. And I just wasn't ready to do that.
Right. Yeah.
And so until back about 2022, and I can't tell you why, for some reason, I finally sat down and it just clicked. I said, I'm doing it. And I spent the entire month of, I think, September of like 2022 writing what I call the World Bible, the Bible of Zaroon. It's like a 50, 60 page now. It's got the thousands of years of history of the world and the major kingdoms and the major monsters and how it was all developed. And so then once I had that ready to go, I busted off the synopsis from this sample that I had sent 20 years ago to Wizards of the Coast, reworked the story a little bit, but kept the main thrust of it the same, and that became
Mhm.
Relentless Blades.
Wow. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I wonder after so long of it being in there, I wonder what it was like. Just enough was enough, and it's just time to go. It's time to rock and roll.
I often ponder that because, 'cause for a lot of things, people talk about trying to lose weight and they'll say, I've tried this diet and that for years and I can't lose anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden something will click in their brain and suddenly they stick to it. And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
may not even know why this time out of the 100th time they stuck to it. So I
Mhm.
honestly can't tell you why I sat down that day and just it kept going and the momentum didn't stop and I did it.
Ah,
If I could
fun.
give you that answer, we'd all be billionaires. Like we'd be able to
Yeah,
distill.
right, right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad, and I'm sure a lot of other people are too, that you did it because I'm loving the book, man. So I'm glad that you did it. And
Well,
now we
thank
got
you.
another book out and more to come. That's how it goes. And
Yeah.
now it's probably now that you're in it and you're doing it. I mean, it's not easy, obviously, but I'm sure now there's probably a party that's like, man, I should have done this sooner.
A,
But also at the same time, who knows if you'd be the writer you are now with
a
the life
hundred.
experience you have, if you'd done it earlier.
No, you're 100% correct. Yes, I am kicking myself. I wish I had done it sooner. But B, you're right. I don't know. It obviously was not the right time
Hmm.
earlier for me to do it. I had to apparently learn more life lessons or something to make it the right time.
Yeah, for sure. Now that awesome lore history thing that you made, are you ever gonna turn that into some kind of thing you put out with your books that readers could get?
I am, well, At some point, there's a certain part of the lore that I'm keeping under wraps that
Mm,
may get revealed in this third book uh,
okay.
that I think will kind of blow some people away,
Ooh,
um,
okay.
and not real. It'd be like, whoa, but and so we'll see. I have other ideas because I've had some folks talk about this could be a campaign setting for some sort of
Oh yeah,
RPG.
that's true.
I've thought about inviting some of my fellow authors, any who are interested in maybe seeing if we could collaborate on a like an anthology set within
Oh
Zaroon, and
yeah.
I'll let some of my fellow authors have a crack at some short stories
Oh, that'd be
in it.
awesome, man. That'd be
Yeah,
so fun. Yeah,
I
that's
think
a
it would be cool.
heck yeah, dude. Well, like I said, you did. I can tell now that I've heard what you did before you put the books out. I'm not surprised because it feels very alive. It feels like it's got a lot of lore and history. And I've only read half of the first book, so like I can tell you put in the work because it doesn't feel cookie cutter flat. It feels very rich and alive, and the races and the like the what's the right word, like just the differences between the different races and stuff just feels like it's real and it's been there and there's history there. So yeah, it's fun if you love characters and world building. Woo, read this book, let me tell you, it's good.
Well, I appreciate that. I tried to walk a line right because it's inspired by
Mm,
my love of Dungeons
right,
Dragons, and again, I can't stress that word enough. Inspired by, because I don't want Wizards of the Coast coming after me saying
right,
you're ripping off Dungeons and Dragons. It's
yeah,
not. There's nothing Dungeons and Dragons related other than the inspiration that I love it.
right,
So, but I wanted it to have that feel, but still be unique. So I
yeah,
did want it to be completely like where you can't envision some of the creatures or the races,
oh
but
yeah,
I did want them to have their own unique flavors.
yep, yep. Well, check, you did it, man.
Hey, well,
Good
good
job.
to hear.
Jason said when we were talking earlier, you were talking about the Lord of the Rings animated movie. He said he loves that too, and he remembers watching it as a kid. I mean, I think any kid that saw that remembers that vividly because that was, I mean, just the animation quality for how old it was, like, really
Oh
was
yeah,
crazy how good it looked.
it was, and I swear, and I haven't watched it in a few years, but I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure if you go back and watch that version, you will see that Peter Jackson lifted
Oh yeah,
scenes from that animated frame for
oh
frame
yeah,
into his version. I think the
yep.
one where the ring wraith is stops
Oh
and
yeah,
Sam and Frodo are underneath the overhang of the
yeah,
tree limbs. That comes directly, exactly, the same framing from the animated.
yeah, oh yeah. Let's see. I you've played D&D more than me. Curran said he never got into D&D but played Baldur's Gate. Is that pretty much D&D?
Baldur's Gate is, if he's talking about Baldur's Gate
Yeah.
3, that's the most recent one.
Hmm.
That's RPG. Yeah, that is Forgotten Realms. It's Dungeons and
Yep.
Dragons. Yeah, it uses the new 5e rules. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah,
There it
exactly.
is.
That is.
Jason got it. Yep. Yep.
One thing I do want to say, though, for anyone who's listening, is you do not have to have played Dungeons and
Right.
Dragons
Right.
to read or like these books. Because I have had some folks who they see, inspired by D&D, whatever, they're like, oh, I wouldn't understand it. I don't play
Yeah. Yeah.
D&D.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
like, no, 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 no. It's just inspired by, trust me, you don't,
Yes.
there's no game mechanics in
No.
the
Yeah.
books. There's,
Yeah.
no, it is a straight
It's
fantasy
a
novel.
story.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can jive with that. Like I always thought D&D was cool, and I looked into it a lot and messed around with it a little. But I never had, like, my brother wasn't into it, my friends weren't, so I never really got big into it. And I am reading the book, loving it. It's just a good fantasy book.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's not like a you know uh, novel version of D&D or anything like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. You don't have to
Same
worry
thing.
about not knowing stats or how
Yeah,
much damage a fireball does, or
right.
no, there's nothing like that that you need to know to read
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Very true. All right, awesome stuff, man. That's pretty cool. I always love hearing everybody's journey and how they got to this point. So I'm glad that you came around and finally gave yourself a little
Me
kick in the
too.
butt to tell this story because it is a very good story. So I'm glad it exists. All right, so next, I want to write. I want to talk a little bit about your writing process. But before we do that, every day I do a question of the day on social media and my channel. I actually didn't do one today yet, but I did one yesterday. So I want to ask you. Right, every month I do kind of one question a week that doesn't always have anything to do with books, but has to do with the month. And then at the end of the month, I put those four winners against each other. So this month, for Thanksgiving month, I'm doing best desserts. The first one, pumpkin pie one. This one had pecan pie, cranberry pie, uh, pumpkin cheesecake, and caramel apple crumble cake or coffee cake. So if you had to pick one of those, which one would you say is your favorite out of those four?
Now, first of all, I am a junk food junkie. So I love almost any sweets.
Oh yeah, me
So
too.
I'd eat any, yeah, I mean, I'd eat any one of those that they put
Yep,
down in
they
front of
all
me.
sound good.
Yeah. Um, it, okay, I won't hedge. I'll just pick one. I would
Oh,
say out of that, I'll take the caramel apple crumble. I love
okay, yeah.
caramel. Apple pie is a staple this time of year, so I'm going to say
Oh
the
yeah,
caramel
yeah,
crumble. Yeah.
yeah. It's like neck and neck with pecan pie and that one. So I'll have to
Yeah.
see later which one wins. But the next one will have apple pie because I feel like that one's probably going to win, no matter what I put it up against. But well, you never know, so we'll see. But yes, I agree. That
Yeah.
does sound really good.
Yes.
All right. So I always like to ask questions to pick writers' brains. Some of this comes from me as a reader. Some of it comes as being an aspiring author myself. Some of it comes from comments and things people have asked in the comments of these interviews or in other stuff I've done. So, first one I always like to ask is there's a spectrum for an author. There's a pantser, someone who just sits down, writes by the seat of their pants, no outlining done, versus a plotter who outlines everything. And with your lore history novella you already wrote already, basically. I'm guessing you're probably not all the way to Panther side, but do you feel like? But you are a great character writer, so do you feel like you're in the middle? Do you lean towards one side or the other? Where would you fall on that spectrum?
Well, first of all, I love that you phrase it like that, a spectrum, because I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
there's probably very few authors who are
Right.
100%
Mm-hmm.
on the on the ends of the spectrum. Not saying there aren't, but I think most of us do fall somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
And for me, definitely I fall further on the line towards the planner, the plotter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm not all the way to then. I think I read somewhere like J.K. Rowling's when she's talking about the Harry Potter, like she's probably like as close as you can get to the farthest end of plotter for what I've heard. I think she had something like she knew the days of the
Oh
week for
gosh.
each month and day of the week and where each character,
Oh geez.
Harry and her, where they were and
Oh, yeah. So
what they
that's
were
like
studying for
meticulous.
each
Oh
year of their schooling. And that's what I thought I read. So that no, I'm
god.
nowhere like that.
Yeah.
But I have I'll write a 2 to 3 or 4 page synopsis that'll
Okay.
hit all of the high points. So I have the beginning, I have the end that I'm getting to, and I
Mm-hmm.
have major plot beats set out. Okay, they need to this needs to happen somewhere, then they need to do this, then they need to
Mm-hmm.
be here, and then by the end they're going to be here.
Yeah.
So I look at it like my best way I could kind of describe it is if you were going to take a road trip from, say, California to New York. So you're starting in California, you're in New York, and you have plotted out the general course of how you're going to get there, and you know it's going to take you however long, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you have your major stops like, I want to hit the Grand Canyon while I'm going, and I want to hit Yellowstone, and I want to hit here. Okay. But as you're going along, you find out some attraction is maybe closed or not as interesting as you thought. And then you hear from somebody, oh, you need to go check this out. That's only 50 miles, 100 miles this way. Oh, okay, I'm going to go over here now. And now I'll go over here. But at the end of the day, we end up in New York. I end up where I'm going, but I have that pantser ability throughout the journey because I haven't plotted it to that nth degree. I say, okay, the characters get captured and thrown in the great arena. Okay, that's listed in my synopsis.
Mhm.
I don't know how they got
Right.
captured. I don't know how long necessarily they're in the arena. I don't know who they're fighting in the arena. I have to figure all that out as I'm writing it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
I think that I feel like from talking to a lot of people that seems to be like some variance of that, a combination, like you said, where you kind of know where you're going so that you don't get stuck
Mhm.
while you're
Right.
writing, but then you allow the story and the characters to kind of lead you to those. And I liked how you call them plot beats. I hadn't heard that yet. I like that. That's
Yeah.
good. And to get there to the end. Now, writing that way, well, two questions. First, have you had like something happen where as you start writing the characters you get to know them better and you're like I was gonna have this happen but I feel like the character wouldn't do that now, I gotta switch it up? Or has there been like a side character or a main character that you decided you were gonna give them the axe but you decided to let them stay around longer? Or was there a character that you created as you went you didn't see really being a big deal but they got more page time because you just really liked them or they really worked good for the story? Have you had anything like that happen along the way?
Yeah. So in Relentless Blades, Rarin is a good example of that.
Oh man, one of my
He
favorite characters.
Yeah, he grew and grew and grew as I wrote the story. And as I wrote it and learned more about him, he was telling me some of his history. And then I realized how he could connect with Grimm and Vidge that
Mhm.
I didn't think about it when I first started writing it. But
Wow.
there was that connection because the book is a lot about fathers and
Hmm.
sons. That's a big point within
Yep.
Relentless Blades. It's a really a big subtext is fathers and sons and those relationships and how they form people and how they imprint on
Hmm.
especially the sons because
Yep.
the book
Oh yeah.
focused on sons.
Yeah.
But then Rarin becomes kind of a father figure and he just kind of grew as the book went. He got bigger and bigger, but I'm still one that I'm in control. Like at no point, at least in these first two
Yeah.
books, did anything that they did. They like I said, like in that
You
analogy
didn't
of
change the
oh
beat.
yeah, I changed some of the course of how I
Yeah.
was going, but ultimately it still ended up back in New
Okay.
York. It still
Nice.
ends the way I wanted it, but they did change some course. And some people lasted longer and not as
Mhm.
long. But yeah,
Interesting. Okay. Very cool. And then part of your process changed at all from book one to book two, or as you're getting ready to do book three, or has it kind of stayed pretty much the same?
no, because even when I wrote book one, I had the whole ending for book three
Oh wow.
already
So you
thought
got the whole story beat it out already.
pretty much. And definitely when I sat down to write Ashbound Oaths, I fleshed out. It was written, that synopsis was written to encompass both books. And I had several parts in my synopsis where I noted, like, could stop book two here or maybe here. And it was just depending on how big I felt the book was, how the story was going,
Yeah.
where I decided to cut it. And then the rest would become book three.
Oh, nice. Okay, very cool. Next question is, when you are writing, like you're getting ready to release book two, but when you were hard at work on book two, or when you dive into book three, are you somebody that sets daily, weekly, monthly, like word goals for your writing, or are you someone who just like I'm gonna write every day and then I'll get it done, or how do you do that when you know you want to get a book done, like in a release window, like you plan?
Uh, I first of all, no, I don't have daily goals. I maybe should. I don't, but I work full time.
Hmm.
Like a lot of and I've
Yeah.
got wife and kids and anyone who watches my X channel or they know I've got a multitude of
Yeah.
animals that I spend time. So I mean, no, I wish I could tell you that I sit down every day and I write out a certain amount of words. No. Um, but I have a general again, a general goal of I do want to try to have the book finished within this window of months.
Hmm.
Like when I first wrote Relentless Blades, this sounds, I just literally went with a thing a lot of us have probably heard, like, oh, if you just write one page a day, you have a novel in a year, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that when I wrote Relentless Blades, that was just my first thought. So I'm okay, if I write a page a day, I'm going to have my book
Yeah.
done in a year. Once I finally got into it and got the outline done, I wrote the book in 4 months, the first draft.
Wow. That's
So it
good.
really just started cranking it
Yeah.
out. And then I got in a groove with Ashbound Oaths the same way. This one, I'm about 55 to 60,000 words in. So I've
Wow.
got a good chunk
You're a good
in,
chunk in. Yeah.
but I have been kind of slow the last couple months. I find myself getting distracted with marketing and
Mhm.
trying to, all the stuff that goes into trying to release a book. So I
Oh
get
yeah.
stuck in the marketing and trying to promote Ashbound Oaths, and it kind of takes away some of my mental creativity. And I'm a person, I'll be honest, I'm envious of those authors who can crank a book out and turn around the next day and they have an idea and they just sit down and they're on to the next book. I
Right.
totally envy them. I think that's awesome. I
Hmm.
can't do it. When
Yeah.
I'm done with the book, it's like my energy reserves are shot. Like
Hmm.
I can think about stuff for the next book, but I just find I don't have the energy. I got to build. It's like that creative energy reserve has to build back up to a certain point that I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, now I'm ready to go again.
Oh yeah. That makes sense. All right. Very interesting. I like it. Uh, on the same flip side of that, when you are writing, do you have like are you a creature of habit? Do you like writing in the morning versus at night? Do you like to write in a certain place and nowhere else? Do you always use your laptop, or do you use like other devices when you're writing, or any other technology? What about all of that kind of stuff? Your preferences when you're writing?
Yeah, I'm a creature. Well, not exactly. I'm a creature of habit where I write on my laptop
Okay.
at my desk 95%. Now, I will use my phone if I'm out somewhere and I'll write some in the notes
Yeah.
section and add it in, but 95% of the time is going to be at the desk. Now, because of work, family, all the stuff we
Mhm.
talked about earlier, I do not have a necessary preference of exactly when I write. It's when I have, that window of time, I
Yeah.
jump in. But the place is pretty much always the same.
Okay, so you'll write morning if that's when it works, afternoon,
Yep.
evening, either one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how you've gotten two books out, man.
Yeah. That's it. That works for me.
Yeah, that's good. Awesome. All right. Next one. So this one is kind of interesting for you. I'm always curious how people do research nowadays, but I feel like yours, because of being inspired by all your time doing D&D and with your friends and stuff, a lot of people just do research with Google and look stuff up if they need to look up certain anything, weaponry or something like that. But I'm curious if you bounce some things off your friends that you played with for so long, or if you used Google mostly for anything that you had to look up.
No, it's mostly Google for that kind of stuff. I bounced some because Vidge, the
Hmm.
co-main
Oh yeah,
character,
your was
was
your
my
friend's
friend.
character. Yeah.
So I bounced some ideas off of him um, because, so I had two things set in stone when I started writing this book. One was the names of the two main characters
Hmm.
had to be Grimlock and Vigilantin
Yeah.
because that was the character's name. So those were set
Hmm.
in stone. And then I wanted to honor the classes they were that we played for the most part. So Grimlock was like a barbarian ranger. So
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
what he becomes in this book. And Vigilantin started out as a thief, and he
Hmm.
had played him for a thief for quite a few years. And then he kind of multi-classed and went in to become kind of a fighter, and he became more of just a straight fighter. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I need to honor the fact that since this book takes place at kind of the beginning of their journey, the beginning of them meeting, he's a thief. So I've got to figure out why is he a thief? What does that mean in this world? What is, he's kind of a scoundrel.
Right.
He's not the nicest of guys at the beginning, but that
Hmm.
fit his character. He was a thief to begin with. So I
Yeah.
had to honor. So I bounced some of those ideas off my friend, like, okay, well, he's a thief. Because I'll be honest, back then when we started playing these characters at like 13 or something, we thought of some backstory, but he didn't have some total thought in his mind of
Oh
what
yeah.
Grim or what Vidge's background was
Oh
until he
yeah. Yeah.
became, 20. It was
Yeah.
like we started like a lot of people, like, okay, your characters all walk into a bar, and the old wizard walks up with a sack of gold and says, "I need you
Yeah.
to go wipe out these
Do
orcs
this.
over
Yeah.
here," and
Yeah.
we just look at each other and go, "Okay, sounds cool. Take the gold. Let's go." Like, that was our
Yeah.
background.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Let's see. Let me shout out a couple of people that popped in here that I missed. So let's see. Up here we've got right. Lucas just popped in. What's up, Lucas? I'm doing good. Hope you are too, my friend. And then I thought I saw Jasper Renwick up here somewhere. But now I don't. I can't. Oh, there it is. Nope. Good grief, man. My mouse is like being super. I'm like scrolling and it keeps scrolling past where I try to stop. Anyway, Jasper Renwick. There it is. Is also here. Another author. Thanks for being here, man. We appreciate it. All right, so along those same lines with world building, I'm curious because you couldn't just use everything that you use in your campaign, but you've got some pretty creative like uh, names of areas and races and all of this stuff. So how did you come up with your other character names and the names of the different races and monsters and creatures and all that stuff? How did that come up, or do you just have like kind of that D&D brain where you just kind of could fire off some things?
There's a little of that. So a lot of the names just came up, myself. So
Hmm.
I would say the majority of the main character names I came up with. So Rorgast and
Hmm.
people like Everly, you'll meet later, Frelick, Vidge, those were all mine. I came up with the Vrogoths, the bad guys. Um, but I'm going to give you a little hint. There's a cool website called Fantasy Name Generator
Yes, I
that
love that.
will name, I mean, towns, cities, races, I mean, you name it. And I'm not going to lie, I've popped in over to
Heck
that
yeah,
thing a
man.
few times. And like, especially for secondary characters or
Oh yeah,
third string characters who appear a little bit, but they're
right.
not, it's like, okay, let me see what I can find here that, oh, that's a kind of a cool name. And a lot of times I won't even use the name exactly, but it's like, I see a variation of that, like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Okay, I'm going to tweak that a little bit, and I'll use that
Hmm.
name. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool, man. Hey, it works. It works. We got some more people that popped in. Plot Armor Online said, "Go Russell." They're on here
Yeah.
now. Uh, and Jason's got a bounce. Thanks for being here, man. We appreciate it. He says, "Congrats on the upcoming release." So there we go.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. But yeah, I think you did great, man, because everything fits. Like, there are some times where you where you're reading a book and there's a name of a town or a name of a character, and it's like you kind of like read it and you're like, what? Or what was that? Like everything in there felt like it all fit together. So I think that whether you came up with it on your own or used the generator, like you did a good job because they all fit nicely.
Well, I will give you a quick funny story about
Uh,
a name when I first started. The main town in Relentless Blades is Oxglen.
mm-hmm.
That's the town. That was changed at the very last minute. I'm
Oh wow.
talking weeks before the book was going to get
Oh
released.
wow. Uh-huh.
Originally, the town was named Exeter,
Okay.
which I had found looking at a map. I'm from California. I
Hmm.
looked at a map of California and was looking up names. Like, I got to come up with a name for this town. And
Yeah.
I saw the name Exeter. It's in California. And I thought,
Hmm.
oh, wow, that's kind of sounds like fantasy-ish, kind of a cool name. Okay, I'm going to name the town Exeter. I had beta readers read it. Nobody said anything. Everything was great. But then I sent it to some ARC readers, and I got two that were from the UK.
Oh wow.
And they both said, Exeter, Exeter, it's a major city in the UK, and it kind of threw me out of the book. And the one
Oh
guy I still remember to this day, he said, that's like if you name a city Detroit in your
yeah, yeah,
fantasy setting. It's like Exeter. Everybody in Europe knows
yeah.
Exeter. You know,
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah. And I was like, whoa, nobody had even mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
I hadn't planned it from the UK version. I saw
Oh
a
yeah,
version of Exeter in
yeah,
California,
yeah.
and I was like, whoa, I don't want people to be turned off of the book because they're reading Exeter and they're thinking of their
That
town in the
city. Yeah.
UK, the
Right.
city. So I changed it at the last minute, and I did a double, triple Google check. Like, there, Oxglen, is there a town? No. Okay,
Yeah. After
good.
that, you'll always do
Yeah,
that. No, sure.
for sure, exactly. So I did. I changed it at the very last minute just
Man.
because I didn't want anybody to get turned off because of the
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. I could see how that could be if that was somewhere you knew really well. It's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah. But that was quite a undertaking because I'm sure that city's mentioned quite a few times in the book.
Copy replace is your
I was
friend,
gonna
and
say
that's
find
yeah.
replace, right?
Find
Yeah.
replace, yeah,
That,
find replace.
that works out good, but still, then you had to go through and make sure that it actually got them all right.
Oh yeah, no, that was stressful at the end, and I
Oh,
almost didn't do it because I knew it was going to be a lot of work. I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
darn,
yeah.
I got to do
Oh,
it.
yeah. I'm sure you're glad you did it, but
I
at
am
the time, I'm sure it was like, is it really going to be that big of a deal?
exactly, but I
Oh,
did.
oh, all right. Well, that's good. That's good. Okay, so in a minute, I want to talk about where people can find you, but also about something you've been doing on your social media that I think is really cool. But before we do that, I always like to do a little riddle at the end. Do you fancy yourself good at riddles, Russell?
Not really. I'll be
All right,
honest.
I do easy ones, so hopefully you'll be able to get it. And the chat can help you if you get stuck, and I'll give you lots of hints if you get stuck.
Okay,
All right,
I'm
so
watching chat.
that's right. That's right. Help them out. Okay, here we go. I never ask questions, but I am always answered. What am I? I never ask questions, but I'm always answered.
I was going to say the phone, but probably
Ooh, that
not the
is a good one.
telephone. But
That's
not
not
everybody
that's
answers
not
the
what the
phone.
answer is, but that is actually true. That is true.
But not everybody answers the phone. Now they let it go
That is
to
true.
voicemail,
I mean, not everybody answers this either, I guess.
Oh, God. I never ask questions, but I'm always answered. And I see the chats being no help. Come on, guys.
All right, I
Okay.
can, I'll give you, let me
Phone
think
a
of a hint.
friend.
Yeah, let me think of a hint that's not too obvious. Um,
Okay.
it's very similar to when you were thinking of a phone, how someone would call you to talk to you. This one is also along the same lines, but it would be more of that thought, but in person.
Ask questions, always answered. A teacher?
No, it's not a
Professor?
person. In
Oh,
person. In person. Someone trying to talk to you in person would make this happen. This is an inanimate thing.
oh, okay. And I'm going to give Jay credit. Jay, the
Oh
door.
yeah. So close.
Oh,
What do they do when they come to the door?
a
What would
knock, a ring,
There you
knock, ring,
go.
ring.
There you go. Doorbell. Doorbell.
Doorbell pulled
Yep.
me to it.
You got it. You got it.
Ugh.
All right. So you guys figured it out together. Teamwork makes the dream work. You got it. Nicely done.
Jay. All credit to Jay. Yep.
Oh yeah. Then he said doorbell. So yeah.
Yeah,
You guys got it. You guys got it.
he got
Nicely
it.
done. But I would have accepted phone because that actually the phone ringing. It's just like the doorbell. So you had a good answer
Similar.
right away.
All right, I'll take it.
So you're on X, Instagram. You have a presence on social media, but also you've been doing something cool, little shorts and videos that involve your animals. So yeah, I was gonna say that's when you said not everybody answers the phone. I'm like, well, not everybody answers the the door either, depending on who's there.
Yeah.
Um, but let us know a little bit about what you've been doing involving your dogs.
Oh, well, thanks for asking. Yes,
Yeah,
I like to call myself the dog walking author because, yes, I enjoy, ever since COVID hit, right, and we all went into lockdown,
yeah,
ever since then, I've had the fortune of teleworking. And so, of course, right, you don't have a commute any longer. So I just used that 30 minutes that I'd be commuting to just take my dogs out for a walk. And I'm pretty lucky. I live in the city, but I am in a community that's kind of surrounded by farmland. So I have two German Shepherds, one of whom is not super nice to other dogs. So I like to get out early and get to a place where maybe there's not a lot of other people and animals. And so this farmland is great because there's usually nobody out there. And so I would take them and walk them and let them off leash and let them get a little run in. And sometimes they'll chase rabbits or whatever they see there, ducks and all sorts of stuff. And about a year ago, I just was walking and I thought, I think I'd seen something on X, probably on some writing post or something. And I was like chomping at the bit thinking, I want to respond to that. And so I just grabbed my phone and thought, I'll just record something. And so I just recorded my thoughts on whatever the topic was. I don't remember at this time. And that just morphed. And then more and more, I would start thinking, oh, I want to talk about this. Well, heck, I'm walking my dogs anyway. They're out there, nobody around. I'll just record myself and give an answer. And it's morphed over the months into this full year where now I've added some background sound, sometimes not successfully. Sometimes I'm still tweaking the volume levels, but I've added sound and I've added titles and whatnot. And I'm just fortunate that it seems to be catching on. A lot of people just seem to enjoy. I try to keep them short. Everything's under like 2.5 minutes, so you can digest it pretty quickly. I'm not asking you to sit there for a half hour. And
Yeah.
it just, and it's whatever topic comes to mind. A lot of it started mostly writing focused. There's
Mhm.
only so many times you can talk about is AI good or
Oh
how do
yeah.
you,
Yeah.
or the writing rules or talk about how do you tell, not show. Or there's only so many times you can bring up those topics. So I started expanding it to pop culture. Maybe some of my most recent videos this last week, I saw Predator Badlands and
Oh
Chainsaw
yeah.
Man. So I gave my quick thoughts
Nice.
of those. I saw Superman and made a video about that. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so feel sorry for me,
Oh
but I've
man.
I've ranted a few times about them and Jerry Jones
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just whatever's, it's
Yeah.
just fun. Whatever I'm thinking about,
Yeah.
I'll throw up there.
I think that's brilliant, man. I love them. I didn't see the one about Predator Badlands because I want to go see that, so I'll have to go back and watch it. But I think there is something cool to it. Like you have a charismatic, funny personality anyway, but that setting with people love dogs. Plus, it's
Yep.
like very cozy and like relaxing, seeing the farmland and the fields and everything. So that helps. And then, like I said, you are engaging in general. So you put them all together. Like I think that's a great way to get yourself out there and connect with your readers, but also find new ones too. And I think that that's awesome that you're doing that.
Yeah, that was the whole thought is just, exactly another way to connect, another way just to in some ways give back. So I'm no means an expert on writing. I'm still learning. But if anybody, it makes me feel really happy when I get people who will reach out to me and say, "Man, that video was cool. I never thought of that. That's really helpful. Oh, that's something to consider." So I feel it's a way to give back as well as
Mm-hmm.
engage people. There's so many posts people want to see me hawking my book, which I do enough of, that I feel like there's got to be some other things I can
Yeah.
contribute out there for people.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, man. So, and you put those on Instagram and X?
Yes, and YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel.
I was trying to find that earlier. So after we get off, I'll make sure I get it so I can add it in the description.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. So how long have you been doing that? When was the first one that you made?
It was
Been a
somewhere
while.
about yeah, it's been
Yeah.
about a year now, something
Okay.
like that.
Very nice. Yeah. Now, if someone were going to try it, well, if they want to, if they're watching this and they want to find it, I'll put it in the description down below. But like if someone just looks up your name, they'll see it. But do you have those like titled or hashtagged or anything as like dog walking author or anything yet, or is it just they're just on there
They're
on your
just
stuff?
Yeah, I want to say it might be my Instagram. One of them I think does say the dog walking author, but
Okay.
I think, or it could be the YouTube. I'll have to double check. No, I think the YouTube is still under my name,
Mhm.
but I think like the subheading says like dog walking author
Okay.
or something. But I have links usually like on my X
Yeah.
profile and Instagram that will take you to the YouTube.
Awesome, man. I think that's the way to do it. I think that you're doing a great job. Everything you're doing is awesome, but at the end of the day, your writing is awesome. Your books are awesome, and I think that once people pick them up, they're going to want to read everything you write because it is very good, people. So look forward to me talking about Relentless Blades and Ashbound Oaths more as I get done with them. But for now, know that they are very good, and you should definitely check them out in the description down below.
Awesome.
But yeah, man. So I think we'll wrap it up here. My kids are starting to come in. That's why I muted my mic because the dogs were barking and stuff. And they're gonna be standing at the door asking me for things. So we'll wrap it up here. But thank you so much for coming on, man. I had a blast. This was a lot of fun. I'm excited to finish the book. And at the halfway point, we were talking before, some crazy stuff happens that I did not enjoy, even though it was very good for the story. So I'm sure I'll be reaching out to you to say, "You did it again to me, man." As we head into the next book and on. So I'm looking forward to being a part of your journey, man, and just getting to see everything that you're doing. So thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'll give you the floor one last time to shout out, talk about anything you want before we go.
Well, hey, first of all, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. Slight spoiler, let me just say, you ain't seen the last of Rex yet. But
Okay, okay,
I'm just gonna say that.
okay.
Not, I'll just leave that
That
there. But
I
I
didn't see
can't
that coming. I'm even more excited now. All right.
can't wait for you to finish it because yes, if you think it's been crazy the first half, that's the point. That's what most people say is the slow part of the book, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
From this
Setting
point
up,
on,
which I still
yeah,
enjoyed. I didn't feel slow to me, but I get what people mean. That there's a little action, but not. It's a lot of character work and like really fun stuff. But yeah, once you hit that point, it's like, ooh,
oh yeah,
things are
once you're at
picking
that
up.
point, you're strapping the rocket to
Yeah.
your back, and it's just full speed ahead all the way to the end, and a lot of crazy stuff. So everybody, please check the books out. I appreciate it. If you love epic D&D type inspired fantasy, dark fantasy, I like to say Relentless Blades is like a combination of uh, Raiders of the Lost Ark mixed with Gladiator in a
Mm.
fantasy setting. If that sounds cool to you, cool characters, a lot of, there's a layer below that where you really get the character interaction. They have weaknesses, strengths. There's a lot of regret that they're dealing with, fathers and sons. So it's
Mm.
more than just wall to wall action, of which there's plenty of that, but there's much more to that. And then Ashbound Oaths just really, I get into a lot more introspective. Again, plenty of action. That in the
Yeah.
last third of that book is almost, it's like one continuous battle scene
Oh man.
between different factions and different groups. I can't wait for people to read the ending of that book. There a lot of cool stuff goes on there. I can't spoil it, but just all sorts of cool things happen at the end of that book. So yeah, and it comes out tomorrow. Relentless
Yeah.
Blades, like I mentioned at the beginning, 99 cents starting tomorrow for the ebook. So you have a chance to pick it up cheap, read it before Ashbound Oaths comes out.
One more
And
time. It's coming out.
yeah,
Oh, look at that cover.
tomorrow. So check them out.
Awesome, man. Everything's linked in the description down below where you can find Russell on social media. I'll get his YouTube channel in there too. And then the books are linked down there. And yeah, check it all out. I can vouch for it. The Relentless Blades is awesome. And I can only imagine how much better it's all going to get. So everybody check it out. Thank you again for coming on, Russell. Thank you, chat. You guys were fantastic as always. And thank you for those of you watching on replay. We appreciate you all. We'll see you next time. I'll see you in the next one. I'll be back tomorrow night with LL Stevens, so look forward to that. And until I see you in that next one, as I always say, devour your TBRs, be brave, be beautiful to one another, and